To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome to the Revenues and Capital Expenditures Subcommittee. I'm Tom Southworth, the chair. I guess I'll also be secretary for now. I can hear everything. Oh, you want to do the attendance? Okay, thanks.
See, Mr. Roy, me.
Oh, can I pause a second?
Yes.
Want to have Peter be a substitute for Sam Farrington. Just so you can be
Yes.
part of the committee, we can have subs, you can be a sub.
Yeah.
That means you can vote.
Okay, so Representative Miles England, here. Representative Gilmore.
Present.
Representative Howard is absent. Representative Johnson.
Here.
Representative Southworth.
Here.
Representative Turcott.
Here.
We have four, we'll be the roll.
Yep, and I would add a Representative Schmidt.
Oh, I have him in as representative.
Yes, just make sure his name is there for the record. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bauer. And I would say the easiest sheet to follow says page, when I say it's 39, about this. It has a fifth column which shows you the change from 25 to 26.
Can you show it over here so we can?
Oh,
Yeah.
and it should have been in your packet, and it's in the book as well. I don't think the book has the last column though.
Do you want to recognize them first of all?
Oh, and have them all introduce themselves?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, hi, I'm Nancy Normile. I live in Dover. And I'm
I know.
just here about the ICE revenue from expenditures.
William Shostak over in Rollinsford, similar, I'm opposed to the partnership.
Sitting here, I guess I'm Phoenix Maya. I'm from Rollinsford, and additionally, I'm here about the ICE park. Catherine Moon, Secretary here.
Great party, Strafford County Sheriff's Office.
Catherine Barabee, Registered Deeds.
Bruce Bay, State Representative from Dover.
Chris Brackett, Superintendent of the Strafford County Jail.
And Seth Miller, also state representative from Dover.
All right. So they did, for those of you who haven't been here before, add a fifth column that makes it really easy to see the major ups and downs in the budget. The budget is slightly ahead of last year, but there's a lot of variability, especially when you get down to Riverside. And then on the bottom, there already are comments on all the major changes. So you don't have to necessarily take notes about that, because it's all listed right here. Where would you like to start?
Well, just one thing, Mr. Chairman, that's a little unusual. Is that at the request of the General Government Committee, I've been tasked to ask this committee to add $24,000 in revenue to the Register of Deeds projected revenue. The reason being that there was 23,000 and change added to her budget for a needed item by that committee. And we are now more up to date, with revenue than we were obviously when the budget was authored. So if you add the 24,000, it's almost exactly what we earned in revenue 2025. So it's not like we're just adding revenue, it's consistent with what twenty twenty-five.
And we have the chair.
Yeah, if I may, it's the.
Oh,
chair.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I just let you do it.
I stuck in the back here. So to expand on what Bowers just shared, we received the original recommendation of the budget. The Register of Deeds asked us to amend it to allow for a replacement or new hire employee who's replacing to be retiring employee of 38 years, something like that. Yeah, and while the county policy or tradition is typically not to hire the new person until the departing person has left, given the significant institutional knowledge that is departing with that person, we thought that it was a smart investment to bring the newer person on a few months in advance and help them get up to speed as the Register of Deeds requested. So we approved the cost of that salary and benefits and everything else. There's also a small additional cost for one of the software programs they use for producing documents or something like that. And that is also reflected, the cost of that is something that they then turn around, they charge for. So, and the cost per document is less than what they charge for them. So we make a little bit back on that. So between those two things, the revenue we expect to actually be increased from those documents and those bits, and based on where the document production is right now, offsetting the additional costs of having that person start a few months early. So to the overall budget, it's a break even, but we approved the expense part of it and come here hat in hand asking you to approve that more money is going to show up, which.
It sounds very wise. I've known businesses and schools who did the exact same thing. And transitions like this are very important. So I really think it's well worthwhile to use this approach. Could I have a motion to add 24,000 to revenue? And this, we're just recommending this to the exec, but it just will give them a sense of how we feel about it.
As I
move.
Okay. And want to take the vote? Because it's money, we should do a vote.
Hold on, let me get, so it's moved.
So the notation I see, Mr. Chairman, in column
Well,
5,
Janet's here, so she'll do your minutes.
Oh, that is so much better. And by the way, I'll second the motion.
But you can call the roll.
Okay, so, Representative Roy, I'm replacing, so yes. Representative England,
aye,
Representative, Representative Schmidt,
yes,
Representative Gilmore,
yes,
Representative Johnson,
yes,
Representative Southworth,
Yes,
Representative Turcott.
Yeah.
very well.
Thanks, y'all.
So if we wanna actually technically start at the top, it actually refers you back down to Riverside. So for those of you that have read the budget message when it came out, as continues, the state isn't properly funding Medicaid. They'll come up with the Medicaid rate and then cut it 30%. So what happened this year was even a bigger cut. The amount charged to the counties went up from 2% to 3% on top of last year, which if we're talking around $11 million. So all of a sudden, 1%, means something. And at the same time, it cut our rate, not just for Riverside, but for pretty much every nursing home. Some as much as $30 a day. It was bad enough ours was $10 a day, but I have no appreciation for how some of these nursing homes are gonna stay in business, frankly. I really have no idea. In the budget message, for those of you that have a budget book, there's actually an article from the union leader that we put on back of the budget message that the Healthcare Association put out, not us, that talked about 2 Manchester nursing homes, lost $25 a day, $24 a day, another one's $10 a day. And there are some nursing homes that lost as much as $35 a day. So I have no idea how they're gonna stay in business.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
We have, one of our committee members on Zoom, so I want to make sure you check in with him.
I want to make sure that he's.
Yeah, where he is and that he's alone. Can you see?
Scar.
It's he.
Yeah. Representative Howard here. I am currently in my car. I am alone at the moment. I just got out of a meeting, so I apologize for my tardiness.
All right, thank you. Welcome.
Sorry, I didn't see him.
Yeah, no, he just popped up.
So, as you know, Riverside, so the next line item, and I assure you, I'm not gonna go line item by line item. I just wanna hit some of the highlights or lowlights, depending on how you wanna look at it. In private pay income, we don't really take private pay residents in Riverside. It's almost all Medicaid. The only reason there's a private pay amount in here is those people that might come to us that have a small amount of money, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. They have to spend that down till they reach $2,500. So but they're not obviously private pay for any length of time. But because we have a turnover, obviously, of residents, there is some private pay money that comes in. And the bigger item to talk to you about is the behavior unit, our SBU. We have increased the number of residents there. So we have 38 residents now in the SBU, which is why you see a $532,000 increase in revenue. And our hospice house, I think the amount that I put in there is more consistent with what we actually bring in. So we have today, as of 11 o'clock last night, because I call every night at 11. As of 11 o'clock last night, we had 6 residents, which is more than what I've budgeted. However, I suspect that they're not I think we only have one of the higher paying residents, which is general inpatient, which means that their life expectancy is very short. The balance of the people are respite, so they're at hospice at home, and this gives the families a break. And that usually respite's 5 days. Sometimes it's longer. We have a Friends of Hyder, who, if there's no funds, or if they go beyond 5 days and they really don't have a place to go, Friends of Hyder will fund the balance of their time until we can make a more permanent location for them to be. Because we do have some people that have no one, unfortunately.
I have a question. So a moment ago, Mr. Bauer, you indicated that you didn't know how some of these nursing homes would stay in business. And would you consider that Strafford County Nursing Home Riverside is possibly in that category, even though it's only $10 a day for us?
No, I mean, I budgeted for the loss. It's clear that it was clear from the meeting this morning that taxpayers pick up the fact that we have nothing but Medicaid. The taxpayers pick up the difference. So it's budgeted that way. I know that one of the senators, Senator Birdsdale, I think it's
Birdsell, yes, Regina Birdsell,
has put in a bill to make all of the nursing homes who took a cut whole. Whether that's gonna pass or not, I have no idea. It'd be nice if it did. It would certainly, that'd be about 1% reduction in the proposed increase.
thank you.
So then that number carries up to the top. And And then we go down from there. The next item is the register of deeds item, which we've already had a motion, and that's changed to 1,324,000. And I guess the rest, little bit of disappointing news. As of November 1st, we're going to lose probate. Probate court's gonna be gone. They're gonna move to the new building in Rochester. So that's 29% of the rent that fortunately, we'll get a 3% increase effective July 1st for the whole amount. So that'll be from July to the end of October, and then November and December. And I think honestly, they're optimistic. I don't think they'll be able, I've never known construction to be done on time. So hopefully they'll last till the end, they'll be here till the end of the year, and we won't have, a tremendous deficit in that line item at the end of the year. I'm not suggesting we change that line item. I don't have anything in writing from the state that says that. I've made a proposal to them, that they pay us that 3%. So they're paying us 3% of the total for 4 months, and then we'd lose 19% of the total for the last 2 months, and then we'll have to look at it for next year. And there's another 3% increase built in for half of next year. So I'm not sure how all the numbers will work out, and we'll actually see when they leave. I've had a meeting with them, but I don't have anything in writing.
Representative Mill.
Thank you. Can you clarify I assume we're looking at the leased office space line?
That's correct.
Does the 708,258 for the year reflect the 3% increase for until November and then not having them here after that? Or is this assuming they were gonna be here the whole year?
This presumes they were gonna be here the whole year.
Okay,
Because I didn't know till last week that they might not be.
okay,
And again, I say might not be because, like I said, I've not only does the building have to be done in Rochester, but
then they gotta move.
then they have to move. So I'm not,
Sure, okay. And can someone remind me, is our budget calendar year or?
calendar year.
Okay, so even though we're already in the year, we're still working on,
Yes, sir.
okay, so if they stay through the end of the year, we get the full 708,258.
And 3% of most of that. There's some other rent
If
built
they leave
in.
earlier, it would go, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The unusual things, the accounting services is the courthouse charging the nursing home. And we do that because then we can declare it on our cost report and get reimbursed for that on our Medicaid rate, whatever that may be. You see the bailiff expense went up, but also year end, the bailiff's amount exceeded. Will have exceeded the numbers. Jail income's up, both from an ICE perspective and a US Marshals perspective.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, yeah, sure. Of the jail income, how much is ICE? How much?
About 9 million.
ICE alone is 9 million?
Yes, sir. The other, the remaining 4 is US Marshals
Okay.
from everywhere. Well, when I say everywhere, Vermont mostly, and a little bit of Boston, and mostly New Hampshire.
Okay.
And those,
Commissaries. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You were asking a question.
I know, and I was trying to give myself permission.
Move the permit.
Hang on. And those breakdowns are your estimate for this particular year.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's really, honestly, in terms of numbers, not of dollars.
Right.
But in terms of numbers, this is the same numbers as it was during Obama.
Mhm. Oh, I know what my question was, also would be
In fact, we were much more involved in ICE under the
Yeah.
Obama administration.
in terms of, staffing.
Yeah.
Even if these numbers went down because of your requirements of 24 hours and all that stuff, there still wouldn't necessarily be a saving on staffing.
I have an actual, because that question came up under the Criminal Justice
Yeah.
Subcommittee. Do you mind if we recognize Superintendent Brackett to actually
no,
give you a
that would be
breakdown of that? Cause we did that in preparation.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
thought that question is gonna come up.
Yeah.
And this would show you why it really doesn't change.
Yeah,
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Chris Brackett. I'm the superintendent. So staffing, the staffing profile at the Strafford County Department of Corrections. I have 3 officers that operate Housing Pod 1. Housing Pod 1 has the following housing units that are on there. They have Unit A, Unit B, C left, C right, D, E, and F. And the reason why I'm taking a little bit of time to explain that is because in Unit B, 12 of the 32 are ICE detainees. In Unit C left, 18 of the 20 are ICE detainees. In Unit E, 1 of 16 are ICE detainees. In Unit F, 37 of 40 are ICE detainees. So I still have a balance of individuals that would remain on Housing Pod 1. Now, it gets even further convoluted, and forgive me if I'm coming across as complex, but that's frankly just exactly what it is. The classification process inside the Department of Corrections is exceptionally complex. I have to take into consideration charges, I have to take into consideration, obviously, gender, I have to take into consideration individuals who might have keep separates or co-defendants. Keep separates could be identified as somebody who owes drug money to somebody else, so I have to keep them separated. There's a potential for violence inside a correctional facility. So we have to keep them separated. So in that Housing Pod 1 scenario, I still have 20 in Unit B, 2 in Unit C left, 15 in Unit E, and 3 in Unit F that I would have to find a housing unit for if I were to shut that down. Now, I have other units, Units G and H, for example, and in Unit G, 10 of 72 are ICE detainees. So if I were to shut down Unit G, I would have, and due to not having ICE here, for example, I would have 62 people that I would have to place in another housing location, currently of which I don't have the proper space to be able to keep those individuals separated. In Unit H, if I were to shut that down, there'd still be 24 people that need to be housed because 48 out of the 72 are ICE detainees. And then up in Unit J, I have 9 ICE detainees out of 72. So I'd have to find a place for 63 individuals to be housed. So if I were to close down a housing unit, for example, or if we were to entertain the notion of getting rid of ICE or the US Marshals, for example, because we're budgeted to have more US Marshals because there has been a trend of being tougher on crime and not as many people being released at the federal court level, and they get detained and then they have to go to a detention location. And just for edification, the US Marshals don't operate a pretrial detainment center. They contract with local facilities. And then only once somebody has been found guilty and they're ordered to be sent to a detention center, a correctional institution, a penological institution, do they go and become part of the Bureau of Prisons. So that's why, we first got into this with the US Marshals, but that's the breakdown of our housing inside the correctional facility and how it's not necessarily conducive to release or from a staffing perspective, because I'm still gonna have to have 3 people on unit, on Housing Pod 1. I'm still gonna have to have Unit G staffed. I'm still gonna have to have Unit H staffed, Unit J staffed. So we, in essence, I would still have to maintain the lights, the heat, all that stuff, because I wouldn't be able to shut down those housing units. I've looked at that in times of the past. When we were in COVID, we looked to see if there was a way in which we might be able to do that. but because of the complexities of the keep separate issue, because of the charges, things that we have to take into consideration, that's why we have, additional housing units. Now, I will tell you that when we first moved in 2004, in August of 2004, Unit C that I mentioned was just one giant unit. It's one giant unit. But eventually, we started talking about efficacy of housing and how we might be able to utilize the space, because originally that was max custody, and I would have one person occupying a 48 bed unit, which is not effective housing inside a correction. So what we did is we erected a wall, and that gave my classification department additional locations to be able to put people. And even when we put people in the right places, there are personality conflicts, and we have assaults that happen inside the facility. And then I have to keep those individuals separated for the duration of the time in which they're incarcerated with us. So as it relates, it's a pretty long-winded way for me to describe this, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how complex our classification is and how we have to distribute a multitude of different people in different locations to try to provide the safest, most effective housing that we have inside.
I have a question from Representative Howard.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Southworth, for recognizing me. The question I have is, what was the ICE revenue over the past 5 years, just for comparison's sake?
I don't have that, Representative Howard, but I can get that for you.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah, I didn't come prepared for that. I think you'd find quite a bit less, but if you went back further into the Obama administration, it would be less, but only because we were charging less at the time. So we'd have to, I think it'd be better if I gave you bodies as opposed to dollar signs, because I think that would be a more accurate representation. We're charging 50% more now than we were back then. Actually, we're charging almost twice as much now as we were back then. I think we were at $83 a day back then. So I think it'd be easier if I gave you actual numbers as opposed to dollar amounts.
Could you send me both?
Yes, sir, I will. I'll be happy to.
Send it all the way back from the Obama years too. That would be appreciated.
Could you give me a couple of days?
Yeah. No rush.
No, I'll get
All
it
right,
to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
I'm just waiting. My finance director is on vacation, and she could pull these things up at her fingertips. So she'll be back on Wednesday, and I already have a number of things for her to do to honor requests from a couple of the other state reps, so I'll keep her busy on Wednesday when she returns.
Representative Turco.
Yeah, for Ray, could you also send whatever you send?
I'll send it to the whole committee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We all, thank you.
Yeah, always when somebody asks from a committee, I send it to the whole committee.
Okay.
I just think that's the best way to do it.
Yep.
And Janet's kind enough to put a little asterisk to remind me.
I have a broad question from
Yes,
the
sir.
chair. I've mentioned to you before about how important the grants are.
Yeah.
And you do have a couple of steady grants still going, but you have lost several grants.
Yeah, it's been and we actually lost more and then got some back. It seems that the current federal administration kind of put a stop on just about every grant and then slowly gave us some of them back. One of the most notable ones involved the sheriff's department and the complement to the radio system.
Right.
We, as you know, we spent about $3 million from a variety of sources to redo the radio system on a countywide basis, because particularly, all we dispatch for is the towns, but when the police officers were out of their cruisers on a portable radio, they had about a 5% coverage, meaning they didn't have any coverage. And now with the new system, they're at 95% coverage. But to complement that, the sheriff's department put in for a $725,000 grant, of which we had, and we thought we were gonna lose, and then we got it back to purchase radio equipment for the cities, towns, and the sheriff's department. So it didn't just count the towns. And I think that's all distributed now. Yeah, it's all distributed. We have to wait for the equipment to come in. And then we began distributing it department by department. A lot of the departments had varying needs. Some needed portable radios, some needed cruiser radios, some needed. So that was one we were afraid we were gonna lose, because it would have severely impacted the $3 million plus that we spent on the new antenna system throughout the county. So that was one of them. We still do have an energy grant for the possible studying of solar. We had that and we lost it. And then we got a call that we got it 4 or 5 months later, we got a call that we got it back. So that one's, we're back on to that one. And I'm waiting. We almost have a final meeting set up. The finance director and myself had been doing those meetings. This last meeting needs to involve the commissioners. So I'm waiting to set that up over the next week, or they didn't meet this week, but they will be meeting next week. And I will be waiting to set that up.
Thank you, and I know that we go after a lot of grants.
Yeah.
That's been a strength.
We're going after again, our grant for, family visitation. As you can see, we only funded family visitation for a couple of months this year, because our grant is actually, we were supposed to know in October about a slightly different grant, but carrying out the same concept. And normally what happens is when the feds reach out to you and ask you for some clarification questions, it usually means you got the grant. They're just trying to clean up a couple of things. Well, we've been waiting. Obviously, this is February and that was October. So we funded it through February but that was fully grant funded. So we're not gonna be funding that if we don't receive that grant. So that's one that's likely to.
So we'll just have to see.
We'll just have to see. That's one of the things that we'll be pursuing when my finance director returns. She's the one that's had gotten the inquiries from the feds. So I'll ask her to call back that person to see where we're at with that, one way or the other.
Do committee members have any more questions about the revenue page? We still have to do capital expenditure. Yes.
The entire page or
Yeah.
anywhere? Yes, question, Ray.
Sure.
The last item under the rest home. The note down at the bottom talks about the projection has been lowered because we lose a tax from 6% to 5.5.
Yes, sir.
So the reduction is $200,000 off of 2 million.
It's about 10%.
That's 10%.
Right, and from 6% to 5.5, I understand the way you're looking at it,
Yeah.
but what you have to, that's actually 10%, right? If you have 6 divided by 5 is 12, but you divide 5 of that, it's actually 11. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
That was a good question, though. It's
a good math.
You almost need something in
yeah,
parentheses.
it's a good math.
You need something in parentheses.
It's a good math.
Yes.
It's a good math exercise. One that makes me think when I was putting the budget together.
Representative Miller has a question.
Yes, sir.
Switch seats so I can actually see you and not be just falling out from behind the column there. Line 025027, Medicaid Special Care Unit, the SBU.
Yes.
Significant increase there.
Yeah.
As I recall, you mentioned, we're seeing, like, said 38 people in that unit now,
Yeah.
roughly. Is there turnover in that unit? is it maintain the same pace? Do we expect that if there is turnover, we would have more people in that same category that would join?
Yes. Here's, could
My real question is,
could I just?
how likely is it that that's gonna actually stay based on turnover?
No problem there.
So,
In
thank
fact, if I had more beds, I could take more people, but there's actually 41 beds on that unit, but, 3 of the people that I have on that unit, they're too dangerous to have a roommate. So I certainly don't wanna bring a roommate in and have them hurt, as a result of putting them in there. I mean, I knew that.
Right.
If we were to lose one of those 3, I'd probably replace them with 2. So we would go up
As
one.
long as there's upside, I'm cool. If there's
There-
downside, I don't want to account for it.
These are people that come from the state hospital or Glencliff, the state nursing home. We take them from there and there is a waiting list. Let's leave it that way.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
And the capital reserve for people who don't have it is 2 lines, so I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah, for those of you that remember, you were kind enough to put in vote in a capital, bonding budget, last year. So has negated any request for capital items. I think the only thing that's in there is like mattresses. We obviously replace a certain number of mattresses at the nursing home every year. Based on need. People spend different amounts of times in their bed. We try and get everybody out of bed. That's our goal, but there is some people that don't want to. And if they don't want to, then we honor that. And obviously those mattresses wear out at different rates, so we assess that and replace them as necessary.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the revenues and capital expenditures?
Sorry, I wanted to ask one more question before
Sure.
we get there, and have a bit more conversation, specifically about the jail income side of things. I understand the expense situation. I raised that question to criminal justice.
That's why we tried to be a little more prepared today.
I warned you on that one too.
You did. It was very kind of you, sir.
Is there, and I understand that currently our contracts with the federal government say someone shows up, they have a piece of paper that says this person is to be admitted to your facility. Superintendent Brackett, make sure that paper is filled out properly and then processes the person as appropriate, puts them based on the can't be in contact and all those other rules, puts them in the right place.
Yes, sir.
And so understanding that you are not going to make that change unless something changes more broadly. Is there a scenario in which we could change that contract as a delegation or as a county that would change the number of people that show up through the rest of the year?
You kind of have to separate that question.
Okay.
You said, you put 2 factors in there. You said as a delegation or a county. Delegation, I don't believe the delegation has the authority. As the county, I think the commissioners hold the authority.
Okay.
And that's not the direction I've received.
Okay.
Thank you. That was, I think, on a lot of people's minds about what are the procedures to make changes.
It would be the commissioners, not the
And to
delegation.
follow up, the ending for the contract,
I believe that we engaged in a 3-year contract.
That's exactly right. And that was effective in 2 different.
and is this
states.
year, sorry. Is this year one of it?
It's not even quite year 1.
Okay.
In other words, we're still in year 1.
So it's signed through 28.
Yeah, in February 1st was 1 year for ICE. So it'd be just over a year, and August 1st, 1 year for the marshals. They're both 3-year contracts.
So we're 12 months and 5 days into the ICE contract and we are 18 months and 5 days.
No, less
Oh.
than that. It just went in this August.
We're 6 months into
Right,
the marshal's contract.
that's correct. Yes, sir.
And just to clarify too, obviously double checking, Janet, those sentences will be very important.
Yes.
in our minutes.
I mean, the only thing I would add, and I don't mean to interrupt, was clarifying responsibilities. So the commissioners act as the executive body. And we're only the legislative body.
They're my bosses,
Yeah.
and they're,
So that-
and ergo, they're Chris's bosses. You know, which is actually me, but through the commissioner's authority.
Representative Schmidt.
So I don't think the analogy with the legislature, and the state is
I'm
appropriate.
not using that. Actually, I was using it more at the municipal level, actually.
Well, even the municipal level, the counties are an entity unto themselves, structured in their own way.
I understand that. I bet it's the same as school, anything else. The executive body actually was the authority, a different authority than the legislative body. This has nothing to do with the state, actually. As the former, chair of municipal and county will probably back me up on that. There's a procedure to what the executive versus the legislative body does, and it's defined under those.
Well, in my view, I agree with the commissioner's, position, which administrator has just spoken to with regard to not having received direction along the lines of the question was, does the delegation have the authority to make this call? I do not think the delegation, it has a fiscal function, not a legislative function, in my opinion. But the commissioners clearly are the executive body, and so I think it is in their purview. I know that several members of the public have expressed their concern about the ICE funding as a basis of some of our revenues and so forth. And I know, and I spoke to this matter in the previous subcommittee hearing, that this is something where I have received communications from individual citizens, where I have also received as a joint email as member of the delegation from citizens of Strafford County, some specifically from Dover, concern about the situation that we've seen in other states. And I have that concern as well. But I think that the bottom line is that as the superintendent has been directing, representing, that it's not a simple yay or nay, even if it was our call, which I agree with the commissioner's presumptive position that it's their call, not ours. And I think that this is a situation we have to monitor, because I think we have a responsibility to our constituents to observe what's going on in other states, but also what's going on in New Hampshire. And as some of you undoubtedly know, and we heard of this just yesterday in session, that the town of Merrimack is currently looking at the possibility that a current facility there is being considered as converted into a ICE housing facility, which I think is very, very concerning. So anyway, I think that we as representatives of our constituents, unlike the commissioners, because the commissioners are not representative. It is we that are the representatives, and therefore we have a responsibility to communicate with our constituents on this particular issue with regard to the significance of us taking any kind of position. So that's my statement, and I wish it to be contained and committed to the record. Thank you.
Well, one other thing I just want to mention is our sheriff's department has almost no involvement with ICE. And when I say no, the only involvement they might have is taking an ICE lady or gentleman to the doctor or to the hospital if or providing security at the hospital. There's no apprehension. There's no transportation of them anywhere other than, the immediate area. And you'll notice a decrease in the revenue accordingly. There's a mistake in the budget that says that, our sheriff's department, transports or is involved with ICE. That used to be the case, but it's no longer the case. So I wanted to make sure
It's a
that
private firm now.
it's correct. It's Chris, what's the name? Paragon is the name of the firm that does the transportation. It's a private firm.
Yes,
Thank you, Tony. Ray, how long does our contract with ICE go back? I think it's going back like 25 years.
No, a little longer. I started the contract with the Bureau of Prisons in, when I first came here 39 years ago. Then a few years after that, Steve Monnier became the US Marshal. When Steve Monnier became the Marshal, he and I were work friends. I mean, we didn't socialize. He was the chief in Goffstown. I was the captain in Londonderry. So we didn't border each other, but we were close enough. We were looking at building a new jail. The marshals were looking for a place to house inmates. So George McGlaris and I went to Washington and acquired $2 million towards the construction of the jail, contributed by the marshals. When the jail was built, actually before the jail was built, we were boarding marshals. So I'd say about 30 years. And because originally the ICE contract piggybacked on the marshal's contract. So I think 30 years would be a safe number. Sorry.
do committee members have any other questions? Again, you all know, he's an email away. If anything comes up from a constituent or you want.
And I know that I'm behind on some of my emails. I apologize for that. And I promise I'll work on them over the weekend. But I've had so many emails because we had 2 subcommittees today. And I had so many emails about Riverside from the state reps. So I apologize if anybody's a constituent's here that I haven't answered. I promise I'll put the answer together over the weekend and I'll send you the answers by Monday. And I accept full responsibility and apologize for that. And that's not my usual practice. Janet kicked me in the rear and reminded me that I had these things, but one of the reps from the Riverside Committee was emailing me and a constituent that actually works for her from Durham was emailing me all of last week in preparation of this morning's Riverside meeting, and I just got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And there's just one of me.
Yeah.
It's just me. So
we
I
understand
did the best
that you can eat and sleep,
Oh,
maybe even watch a little football if you like it, but.
yeah, my wife's been asking me about
Yeah,
it.
this is a busy time of year. Seeing no further questions, would someone like to make a motion to approve the estimates for revenues and capital expenditures as contained?
With the adjustment. With the adjustment.
With the
Yes. Yeah, that's like an amendment essentially, yeah.
So moved.
I'll second.
Yeah, attempt the vote.
Here we go, yeah. Staff, okay, so it's been moved and seconded, yes, Representative England,
Yes.
Representative Schmidt,
Yes.
Representative Gilmore.
Yes.
Representative Howard.
No longer.
Yes.
Oh, you are there.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Southworth,
Yes.
Representative Turcott.
No. There.
Yeah. That's right. I'm not big on unanimous. Everyone gets to stay with that.
Motion passes.
And would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, so moved.
Seconded.
Thanks, everyone.
Without objection, or anything without objection.